want to talk to you about in the next meetings that's coming up is about setting yourself apart and the interview process. So instead of sitting here and lecturing to you about an interview and how to prepare for an interview and the things to do in an interview, we thought we might go through and just demonstrate for you both a good and a bad interview. So what we'll ask you to do is watch what's going on, determine, which I think you'll easily be able to do that, determine which one you would want to be a part of, but know that what happens really does happen in the interview world. So make notes, think about this, talk to your coach about it next week, and we'll show you these two, okay? You guys ready? All right. Are you Doug?
Yeah.
Well, good morning, Doug. I thought our interview was at 9. It's 9:10.
I had some things.
Well, that's great. Come on in. Normally I don't even continue with the interview if you come in that late, but go ahead and sit down. I'll talk to you anyway.
I appreciate it. What's your name?
It's Kyle Hickam.
Nice to meet you, Kyle. Here's my resume.
Oh, great.
What I've done before.
Handwritten. Haven't seen one of those in a long time. That's really nice.
It's the personal touch.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, Doug, I'm interviewing a number of people for this position today. Why should I hire you?
Because I'm good, and I'm a good hard worker. I can turn this place around. I tell you what, you make things more efficient. So what do you guys do here?
That's great, Doug. You didn't do any homework on this position before you came in, I guess.
I drive by here 2-3 times a week, and I see it looks like a good place and a good place for me.
So that was the extent of your homework, is just to drive by every now and then?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
great. Well, what's most important to you in a job, Doug?
Well, money, vacation, and babes. I mean, you got some hotties working around here, right?
Wow. Well, it sounds like you're a harassment case waiting to
Yeah,
happen.
that's not true, but I don't mind doing a little fishing off company pier, you know what I'm saying?
Wow, Doug. Well, I don't know that this interview is going to last real long, but let me tell you. Are you smart or do you? Yeah. A phone call.
What's up, baby? Yeah. Yes, well, I'm in an interview right now. Yeah. You know I do. Love you. Sorry about that.
Everything okay?
Yeah, it had to do with my grandma's sick.
What do you think for the next 10 minutes? Maybe you can shut off the phone just so we can finish this?
Yes,
Be all right?
sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
You do. You got that.
Well, let me ask you, Doug, are you smart or do you work hard? You can only pick one. And explain to me why.
Well, Kevin, I think I have to say...
My name's Kyle.
Oh, sorry about that, Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle, I think I'd have to say I'm smart. You know, I'm an idea man, big picture man. You know, I can come in here and tell you what needs to be changed and how to make things better.
Okay. Well, if you could go back in time. Yes. If you could go back in time, what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh, that is easy. Don't put up with anybody's crap.
So what crap have you put up with in the past?
Well, I tell you what, you know, I've had other jobs where you got the boss that wants to tell you what to do every minute that you're there. You know, I don't necessarily want to clean the toilets, even though my job was janitor. But there's no sense everybody telling me what to do. You know, sometimes there's conflicts between two people, and I would tell my younger self, don't put up that crap, just move on and to the next situation.
Well, it kind of answers my next question, but I think I'll go ahead and ask it anyway. Do you work best in a team environment or just individually?
It would be a team environment, Kyle, because...
That surprises me, Doug.
No, because it has to do with being the idea man, because I'm good at telling people what to do and the best way to do it. So I think the team environment works well for me, especially, you know, if I'm up here at the top of the team.
So you want to go straight to the top? You want us to hire you in at the top?
Oh, no, not necessarily at the top, but, if this is your job, I want to be about here at least. I'm not getting any younger.
Hey, well, how do you develop yourself outside of the work environment?
I think pretty much the average stuff, go to the gym, pump some iron, go out on the town, networking, developing social interaction and connections out in the community.
Do you do any continuing education, try to advance yourself, maybe further your educational career?
Well, I did watch one of those TED Talks the other day. I didn't understand what the hell it was about, but there was this cute chick doing it, so I figured it was worth my time. Education, I think I got the degree from the School of Hard Knocks. I went through school as a junior, and then once again they tried to tell me all these things I had to do to graduate. And well, that's one of the time I took my advice, and I didn't put up with their crap.
I see that you wrote that out here on your resume as well. What are the failures that you most cherish and why?
That's a little personal, isn't it?
A little personal.
Failures.
But you can tell me on a business environment or something you did in school, a failure. It doesn't have to be.
You know what my biggest failure is, Kyle? I think that is I care too much. I care too much, I work too hard, and I spend so much time social networking and being at work. That is probably why my 3 marriages didn't work.
Well, I want to follow up on that question for you, Doug. Then if you say it's because you care too much and you work too hard.
Yes, sir.
Give me an example.
Example. Like how I fix something? Like fix the problem in my life?
Well, give me an example of how you work too hard.
Oh, work too hard. As I told you before, Kyle, I am a thinking man.
I'll tell you what, Doug, let's move on, okay? That sounds like that was a tough question. Okay. Let me ask you this. Is it better to be extraordinary and late or good and on time? And you can only pick one to explain yourself.
Is there being okay and just don't show up?
That's almost what happened today, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. My grandma was sick and I had to take her to the hospital, and I appreciate it. She's going to be fine. Don't worry about it or nothing.
I'm glad to hear that.
I think I would be with being exceptional and just being a little late because, being on time all the time, that's just one of those constraints that I don't think is.
You demonstrated that earlier.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I live, the way I talk, there you go.
How have you taken a previous problem or challenge and changed it for a successful outcome?
Well, I can think of a couple. I think when I went down, I think it was in Springfield, they were having one of those Hillary Clinton rallies. Well, me and my buddies went over there with my Make America Great Again hat, and I was out there just waiting for one of them pinko liberals to start some crap with me because there was going to be a problem. Now, I didn't pack like I normally do. It was down on my ankle and stuff. Speaking of this, and I think what we did helped change the whole election to get, the president elected. And speaking of that, what do you think about the way they're trying to kill our Second Amendment rights?
Well, let me tell you, Doug, this is an interview for a job that I'm hiring for.
I guess that's something for the water cooler.
That's something for the water cooler.
Now, a situation in which I met a problem and I fixed it. Okay.
I'll tell you what, Doug. You know what?
This is good. I was dating this girl named Gwen. All right? Things are going all well and fine, and we're out one night, and her friend Leanne starts making eyes at me, giving me the ha. So I'm thinking, how do I date these two? But yet they're best friends. So I start telling Gwen all these things that Leanne's saying about her, really kind of ticks her off. So they quit talking. That's working out really well for me because we've all been going out for about a month, and things are going perfectly. So the situation is perfect, and everybody's happy.
Well, Doug, I'm glad to hear that. I'll tell you what, I'm going to cut this interview short. I don't think you need to be waiting for a phone call from me.
And why is that?
Well, I just believe there's probably few more other more qualified people.
More qualified than
Absolutely.
me?
Appreciate you coming in. Thank you, Doug.
I think you're crazy, man.
Yes.
You're not going to find anybody more qualified for me, and you can write that down and send that to your mom.
I'm going to write it down. Thank you.
Son of
We'll let you determine whether good or bad, but we'll let you see the next one. Morning, Lisa.
Hello, Mr. Bard. How are you? It's very good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Like I said, thanks for coming in. Today we're hiring for this position, and I'm just going to ask you a few questions. So, first, I'm interviewing a number of people for this position. Why should I hire you over all others?
Well, I know that you have reviewed my resume, you've looked at my references, but above and beyond the things that you have been able to see is my passion, my desire to be a part of your team. And I've done some research to see the things that you guys do and how you work within the community and within your business. And I really want to be a part of that, and I think I could be a great asset to be able to add to your team.
Is that your resume there?
It is, yes. Let me give you another copy.
Thank you so much. So what is most important to you in a job?
Well, it's really important for me to be able to give back to others. I want to be able to work together as a team and see how the things that I'm doing within my position can make the world a better place, how we can possibly take some steps to make our community better, and just being a part of that is something that really energizes me.
So, answer one of these. Are you smart or do you work hard?
Well, I would say that I work very hard, but I'm a very quick learner. So I show up, I do my job, but I'm always anxious to learn something new and something different that's challenging, so I can help better myself as well as my team.
Tough question. Good. So if you could go back just a few years ago, what advice would you give your younger self?
Wow. Well, there's probably a lot of things that I would really like to, a lot of advice I'd like to give, but probably the most important for me was to probably have more confidence in myself. That when I was going through my high school years and my early college years, that I would really believe deep down that I could be an asset to someone's company, and just to be able to have that confidence to know that I could do it. I knew that my passion was there, but to have that confidence to be able to know that I would be better than maybe the next person that's in line, would probably be something that I would like to see more of myself when I was younger.
So, with this position, sometimes you work individually and sometimes with a team. What do you flourish in? Team environment or maybe individual work?
I enjoy the team effort. I love to collaborate with other people. I love hearing ideas. I think that a company can really improve by a lot of people working together, but I do enjoy that time individually so I can give back to my team as well. But that team building is very important to me.
So there's some professional development opportunities here, but how do you personally develop yourself outside of your work?
Well, I love to volunteer. I love giving back to our schools because I know that the future of our community is within those schools. I enjoy reading, and just doing some professional development activities, continuing my education.
And I see here it says you went through the Career Credits program at Webb City.
I did, yes, and it was really great because I was able to learn a lot of great interviewing techniques as well as how to develop my resume and prepare myself for the job that I wanted.
So life's not always rainbows and butterflies, but what failures do you cherish and why?
Well, I would say probably the failure that I cherish most is the first interview that I had. I didn't get that job, and kind of going back to my younger self, that lack of confidence that I deserved that position. Not getting that job propelled me to want to do better, to better myself, and to prepare myself for the job that I really wanted.
So, another one of those choose one and answer. Is it better to be extraordinary, the best team player, or the best one on the team, and just be late all the time, or maybe really good and on time and very disciplined?
I would say my choice would be to be on time, because I think that's a true point of what my character is and who I am. And if I am punctual and I show that my character is there, then you know that you can trust me as one of your employees to always be able to do the right thing and make the right choices.
So, thinking back to, how have you taken a problem or a challenge and changed it for a successful outcome, maybe by taking initiative to change something?
Oh, taking a problem or a challenge. Sometimes that can be difficult, and I think that taking ownership of maybe some failures that I've had or some setbacks that I've had, and being able to make those things right, and taking responsibility for my actions, I think is always important. And that way I can learn from those experiences and be able to make better choices in the future.
So, what is, other than this interview, the most courageous thing you've done in your life?
Well, for me, I was the first person in my family to go to college, and so it was really stepping out of comfort zone for my family. They had not financially prepared for me to go to college, and I had the passion to want to be a part of a company like yours. And I knew that the steps that I had to get there, I had to have a degree. And so I financially had to look at other options. I had to work very hard outside of my college hours to pay for my college classes, and it was difficult, but I worked very hard, and it was just a courageous step for me to take, because I had no background knowledge of how to do it.
I'm a first-generation graduate too, so it's very
So
nice.
you can completely
I
understand.
can relate. And so that kind of concludes our interview. What questions do you have for me that maybe I can answer?
Well, what is it that you're specifically looking for in a team member for your company?
Well, that's a good question. And we've interviewed some people. I've interviewed some people that maybe weren't so qualified. Like there was this guy named Doug. I won't get into that. We're looking for someone who's obviously very disciplined, who has done the research and been very prepared, knows what they can bring to our company in this position. And I think you have a lot of the qualities that we're looking for. So I'm excited about your opportunities. We're probably going to wrap this up in a few weeks and call you back and have maybe an additional interview.
Well, I really appreciate your time today. That really means a lot that you had me here, that I could share my passions with you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you. It was very nice to meet you, Mr. Bard. Thank you so much.
Okay, so just a couple of things. Next week with your coaches, we're going to kind of discuss this process a little bit. Last year when we did this program, we didn't do this, and so a lot of the feedback we got was we want to see what a bad interview maybe looks like and what a good interview looks like. And so obviously, Doug was the good interview, right? You guys can relate to that. He dressed professionally. He was prepared. His answers were thought of. And Lisa did such a great job coming in and just giving you kind of the questions you're going to hear in an interview process. How many people have been through an interview? Me. Okay. Well, some of the questions we ask are the things that they ask, right? Be prepared. Know about the position. And we're going to talk details next week about your professional dress, being prepared for the job, and not being scripted but rehearsed in your answers. Okay, we can tell as an interviewer when you've scripted something out or when you've thought about what you're going to say and when it's not genuine. So we're going to talk a lot about honesty. Again, what are you doing that's going to make you stand out in the process of an interview? Because that was one example. I sometimes have 5 interviews a day on looking for one job. So we're going to remember the small, intricate details, the answers, and all the things that, we're taking notes mentally. We're taking notes if you can do the job. So next week with your coaches, we're going to talk a little bit about this. And come with questions. And again, we want you all. Last year there was a gentleman who went through a mock interview. So if you're getting ready to do an interview with a job, a part-time job somewhere, call your coaches, set up an interview, and we can go through this with you. That's one of the services we want to do for you all. And again, standing out, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Just a reminder, there's 6 $500 awards at the end of this program. Okay, so So this spring, come May, the juniors who went through it last year will be getting a $500 check that they can use toward their career and their future and scholarship support or to start their job. So, Gwen, anything else to add, or we're good? If you could, just give Doug, I don't know if he's still here, and Lisa, and Kyle, another hand for their participation. Thank you.